In this video, I'll show you how to add the top menu using HTML and CSS in Dreamweaver, and then how to link each word to create a dummy link that doesn't really go anywhere because we don't have all these pages ready, but you can still create links that go nowhere and still test them out as if they're actual links. So in Dreamweaver, I've already added the logo, floated it to the left, and the page title, and floated it to the right. Just below the page title, I want to add the menu. So if I go into my code, I see under my header under the header in my container, I have the logo and I have the site title. Right after the site title, I'm going to insert another. Right after the site title, I'm going to insert the menu. Now I could insert a div, but HTML5 has a special element. Just like it has header and section and footer, it also has an element called navigation. So I keep my cursor here right after the site title. I go up to the insert menu and I insert navigation. And it asks me where I want to insert. I choose at insertion point. Now I could give the navigation a name here, but I've noticed that with Dreamweaver 2017 at this moment, there seems to be a bug where the names you type in while creating the div or such an element don't actually show up in the code. So I'll just click OK here. I'm going to go into the code where I see the navigation or the nav tag. And inside the nav tag, I'll press space and then add an ID for it. And because I'm going to have two menus on my page, one in the header and one in the footer, I need to give them names. So this one I'll just call top menu or header menu or something like that. You can give it a name. So I click inside where it says top menu. Notice it has created a menu and it has said content for new nav tag goes here. So I'm going to go up to the CSS designer. I already have placed my cursor inside the new nav. And I go up to selectors and add a new selector. Now because I gave it the name of top menu and it's inside container, this is the selector that Dreamweaver creates. As usual, I can remove .container because I have only one element on my page called top menu. So what are my styles for top menu? First, I'm going to create the width and then give it the alignment that I want. So the width of this menu is also 600 pixels. I'm going to set the float to right. And notice just by doing that, I now have a menu that fits right under my page title on the right side of my header. Now I can go in and type out the links. So I could even just come into Photoshop, and what I've done is I've typed out the links in all capitals, and then I have these little separators that are just those vertical bars that you find on one of the keys of your keyboard. You can use any kind of separator you want. I'm creating this menu in the simplest way possible. There are many ways to create a menu like this, but I'm choosing the simplest option right now, which is just to type out the text of each link and type out the separators. So I'm going to just select all of this text, copy it from Photoshop, go over to Dreamweaver and paste it here. So here's the text of my menu. I have a few things that I need to do to get it to look the way I want to. First, I'm going to set the text color to white. I'll set the font to Lato. And then I'll go in and link these words So I can style the links, and I'll show you in this video how you can style your HTML links. So I have already created a selector for top menu. I go up to the text properties, set the text color to white. I will set the font to Lato, so I'll just double click in here and type Lato, and set the weight to normal or 400. So for now I'll just save, and then down here I'll click on real-time preview in Safari. So as you can see, my text is showing up. It is in Lato, but the alignment isn't right. It's left aligned. So I need to tell my top menu to align all the text on the right. So under the top menu selector, in the text properties, I say text align and choose right. So again, I'll save all, and then I'll preview. So this is what my alignment looks like now. As you can see, it looks a little different from what I have in Photoshop. In Photoshop, the letters are bigger, so it lines up with my page title. So let me see what is the font size here. It is 16.5 pixels. So in my top menu, I go up to text and choose font size. Okay, so nothing updates in the design view, but I can go into the real-time preview it again in Safari. Now because I didn't save the page, Dreamweaver asks me some files needed to accurately preview this page have been modified but not saved. Should we save them now? So okay, yes. So that's better. So the reason this is not lining up exactly in Dreamweaver the way it was in Photoshop could be because I'd set some character spacing in Photoshop. I could do the same here, but looking at how it looks in the browser, I feel like I should just make the font size for the menu slightly bigger. So even though you have designed a certain way in Photoshop, you can actually change things as you go along. As you start to create them in Dreamweaver, feel free to make improvements or adjustments to your design. I'm going to change the size to 18 pixels and then preview. Okay, so now it's actually slightly bigger than what I need. I can continue to refine it. So I'll continue to refine these as I go along, but the more importantly, you notice my menu is sticking to my site title. I want to give it a little bit of space between them so that the whole thing is easier to read. So you see there's some space between my menu and my page title. This is easy to implement. I can just take my top menu and give it a little bit of margin on the top. So in the top menu, I go into Layout Properties and give it, say, 5 pixels of margin on the top. Save the files and preview them again, and that looks much better. Now let us look at the character spacing. In Photoshop, I actually had a smaller font size but a little larger character spacing over here, so I could try the same in Dreamweaver. So with top menu, let me try changing the font size back to 17 and the letter spacing to be expanded a little bit. So right now I have about 1 to 2 pixels. So I will save and preview. Now this isn't working because it causes my last link to wrap around into the next line. So that's okay, I just go back and make adjustments. So after experimenting a little bit, I found the right combination of size and spacing to get my menu to line up with my site title. Now my header is looking very close to what I want. And now I'm ready to turn these words into links. This way you can actually link the different pages of your website together. I will also add a link on the logo that brings the user back to the home page. Since I'm going to take the same page and save it as my other web pages of the site, I want to make sure that the logo is always a link back to the home page. So to add links in Dreamweaver, we're going to do it two ways. One, we're going to add a link to an image, and then I'll also show you how to add a link to text. So to link an image, you select the image like this, open up the Properties panel, and you notice the Properties panel always has this box called Link. So in this case, I've got an image selected, and I can specify where this should be linked to. In this case, the image should be linked to the home page. When somebody's on the home page and they click on the logo, they won't go anywhere because they're already on the home page. But when they're on another page, like my portfolio pages, drawing, animation, photography, and they click on the logo, it'll bring them back to the home page. So with the image selected, all I do is browse for which file to link it to, choose index.html, and it's done. So this image is now linked to the home page. I'm gonna save all and preview. So now you see when I mouse over my logo, I see the hand cursor. So it acts as a link now. And if I click on it, it's basically coming to the same page again. So nothing happens. To turn these words into links is very simple. I just come here, select the word, and in the Properties panel, notice that the properties are different, but link is still here. Now since I don't have a drawing page already, I'm going to create what's called a dummy link. And a dummy link is just the pound sign. It's a link that doesn't go anywhere. So I type in the pound sign and I hit enter. Notice the word turns blue, gets an underline, and in the code you can see a new tag has been added called the A tag. A stands for anchor, and that's actually the tag that drives all the links everywhere you see on the web. When you click on something that goes somewhere else, it's all happening because of this A tag in the HTML. Now by default, a link has blue text and it has an underline, but we're going to change that with styles. First, I'll just go in and link all these words one by one. So animation is also getting a dummy link now. So is photography. Now blog, since I already have a blog, I don't need to use a dummy link. I can give it the actual link to my blog. This is my blog, so I'm just going to go to the address bar, select the whole text, the link, copy it, come back to Dreamweaver, and with the word blog selected, in the Properties panel, I will paste the link to my blog under the link box and hit enter. Now the word blog is linked to my actual blog. And finally, about and contact will also get a dummy link. So let me save this and show you what these links look like right now. So in Safari, all these words turn blue and get an underline. The dummy links such as drawing, animation, photography, and about and contact don't go anywhere when they are clicked, but the blog link already works. So back in Dreamweaver, the only thing left to do is to style these links. I want to change the color of these links to what I have in my wireframe, and I want to remove the underline unless somebody mouses over the words. Only then do I want the underline to appear. I can add all of these behaviors using CSS. So I go back to Photoshop, click into my text, click on the color picker, and then I'm going to copy this color. Back in Dreamweaver, I need to create a selector for all the links in my header so that I can color all the links together. Otherwise, I'd be doing it one at a time. So I'm going to click inside any one of the links, come up to the CSS designer, and add a selector. And let's see what Dreamweaver adds. So it adds dot container hash top menu A. Now since I have only one top, this selector means all the links inside top menu inside my container. I can leave the selector as it is, but since I only have one top menu, I really don't need to specify the dot container, so I'll take it out. And that leaves my selector as hash top menu space A, which means all the links or the A tags inside the top menu. I come up to the Properties section, go to Text, and double click on the color. I will paste the color that I had copied from Photoshop, but remember to add the hash sign. Once I add the hash sign and hit enter, Dreamweaver recognizes this color, and then all of my links get this color. To remove the underline from my links, I come down to Text Decoration and I say None. Decoration is things like underline, overlines, or strike throughs. I'm going to set the decoration of my links to None, and it makes all the underlines disappear. Let me save and preview to show you what this looks like. So this is what my links look like now. They still behave like links because when I mouse over them, I see the hand pointer, but there's no underline. What I want to do is when somebody mouses over each link, I want that link to get an underline temporarily, just while the mouse is hovering over it. So that's an added effect which gives more interactivity to my menu. So in Dreamweaver, I'm going to create a new selector that only applies when the mouse hovers over a link. So pay attention to this one. My link selector is hash top menu A for all the links in my top menu. To create a selector that only applies to the links when the mouse hovers over it, I'm going to type my own selector because it's really based off of this. So that selector is hash top menu space A colon hover. So hover is a standard word that CSS recognizes for when the mouse is hovering over a link. I'm going to hit enter here, go up to the text properties and set the text decoration to underline, which means only when the mouse hovers over the link should it be underlined. Let me save and preview this. So the menu looks the same, but as I hover over each link, you notice an underline appears. So this completes my header design.